My name is Buck. Some people call me Buckhead.
I work in career services at Specs House.
Hi, I'm Jason Raznick. I'm from Benzinga. We're a financial media network.
My name is Gillian Reilly. I do weekends at 1067
I'm Seth Myers. I'm the Director of New Media at Channel 7, WXYZ.
In the media industry every day, and I encourage them to use social media to network with professionals and get on LinkedIn and Twitter and really put themselves out there as their own brand.
When you get above 500,000, 700,000 people and your Twitter and your Facebook grows, is that brand, those users become that brand and that conversation. So you guys don't have to have that conversation. I see XYZ viewers all the time speaking amongst themselves. The future of social media, I believe, is socializing faster. And what I mean by that is if you had a VCR, you got a DVD player and you threw that away like he was doing when he had to transfer his VCR tapes over. The reason you did that is higher quality. It worked faster. It works better. It's condensed. And that's what's happening in the mobile landscape. So I think social media and the mobile landscape are going to work together to make things happen faster.
Just amazing, like people from like across the country that are big guys writing this stuff, and it's that engagement that you can't get anywhere else. Like Buck had said a million times, it's that one-to-one conversation, and you're right, there's a lot of noise, and it's going to be a waste of time. Part of it, you try to filter it out, but there's no easy solution yet. Maybe Buck will create it.
I think it's really important to note that the fastest growing demographic on Facebook right now is that 55 plus demographic. And it's really interesting to people like me, not because I'm near the 55 plus demographic, but because I work for old media.
I know that, for instance, I probably have 8 million friends on Facebook, which is obscene. It's kind of ridiculous and embarrassing. But I'll often have people that I meet in everyday life, and it's almost as if they know me. And that's just all having to do with social media and the accessibility. So
we'll keep this going. I think the most surprising thing to me ever to do with social media was about 1 million years ago when I was in a meeting and somebody slid a business card across the table and said that they were a social media expert on their business card. And this is before people were calling them, said the term social media. And after that meeting, got out of there, looked at the rest of my team, and just started laughing and saying, what does this mean? Is this person really good at MySpace? And now, I would maybe laugh a little bit if you gave me a business card that said you were a social media expert. But now I think the real surprise is just where we've gotten, where we've evolved. The fact that social media is so intertwined into everything that we all do, whether you work for a media organization or anybody out there, all of our employers and everything that we do. I think it's come to be realized that it can be made better by a good social media presence.
When you're looking at what your social scenario is, and you're trying to figure out what your objectives are for what you're doing, for different businesses or different people or organizations, it can be different. So you'll see somebody who puts a lot into Facebook advertising and they get a ton of followers and they say, I've got 800,000 followers, or I've got this or that. And a business will go, well, what's my return on investment? They'll say, what am I trying to get? Am I trying to communicate one-on-one with these people? Is this a device for service, like customer service? Or is this for sales? Are you trying to increase your sales by using social media?
We had a student actually who had an interview lined up for a media outlet in Detroit, and it was a paid position, and she was just coming out of school, but she had a picture of herself smoking pot on her Facebook. They saw it before she even had the interview, and they canceled it. And, there's nothing that you can do. You can't go back from that.
Groupon, the guys behind her, are one of the investors in our company, and everyone asks me, what are they going to do to survive? There's so many competitors. Their business model, the daily deals, is not their end goal. They believe that through the analytics that they are amassing, they're going to have the best data to reach the consumer with local retail than anyone else out there. And that answers Steve's question, because it's focusing on how to best bring stuff to the individual user versus the mass market. So everything that Groupon is doing, getting all those email addresses, is all data driven. I've seen the back end of some of that stuff. I've never seen so many, like it's almost like a scientific experiment. Everything, when you move your mouse to the right on a page, but like the actual data, it's scary because they're tracking so much data. But on the other hand, to me, it's more useful to me as a user once they roll these things out and it's targeting me. And that's my answer to the future of social media.
Putting up your answer, everything is going to be much more niche oriented, and so especially in radio, you'll be able to do your own online radio station, which I foresee happening in cars. You're going to have internet radio in cars where you're going to log in with your Facebook login. I mean, I'm waiting for the video version of Pandora to come out, so I think it's more about customization, being able to have a niche. I mean, Detroit probably won't ever have a polka radio station, but if you're into polka, you can create one and you can get a following.
So the biggest mistake I think you can make through social media, well, what I've done recently, I guess, would be to underestimate the power of it. So if you're ranting, if you have something negative that you would like to say about a company, that it directly affects that company, and there's usually, it's an action and a reaction, so there are consequences from that, and it lives forever. What happens in social media doesn't stay in social media, it lives on forever. It's not like Vegas, you know, so it's a digital thumbprint for you, and that's something that's really big. We're actually starting a new conference, if you will, for parents to teach them about how to keep their kids safe. And that's one thing these kids don't understand that are posting photos of themselves and their friends, is that in 5 to 10 years, they're going to try to get a job. And that stuff's still going to be there somewhere. It's still going to be traceable for them. So I think for other people, that can be another big mistake.
If you're upset with a company, say Channel 7 or whatever it is, it's a story you didn't like, now it's so easy just to tweet. It's so easy to write that message versus look at the contact us. You should reach out to them through email or something else first. And after you do that once or make a phone call, then maybe you can tweet something. Because you'll regret it later, because they'll most of the time get back to you and you'll find the answer that you wanted. So it's like, be careful with that. And the second thing that I would say I personally made a mistake of, you know, I want to be sometimes, and a lot of us want to be the first to inform people when something happens. So, for example, in the financial world, S&P downgraded the U.S. debt. I want to be the first one to get it out there. Sometimes I'm not going to have all the facts straight, and I may tweet it out too early. And you always want to be accurate. Speed's important, but accuracy is key, or else you lose all that trust. So that's really, really important.
And Jason, you brought up something. Actually, I had a case happen today. You know, you talk about talking to companies, especially. And I've done this in the past. I think I had a horrible night at an Andiamo's once, and I posted an Andiamo's fail. And I didn't realize how fast the repercussions would be. And you know, I was irresponsible in not giving them a fair chance. So today I have, my wife had given me a briefcase, a fossil briefcase last year for my birthday, and the strap broke. And so she took it in to get it fixed, and immediately got all sorts of hassle. I'm sorry, you know, if we're not going to be able to fix this, send it off, maybe they'll fix it, maybe they won't. So I was very responsible, and I said, I'm on the verge of a fossil fail. And within 5 minutes, Fossil was back on Twitter to me with an email address to deal with it. And so then I thanked them publicly also and said, hey, that's great customer service by Fossil. So I do urge people to be responsible in dealing with any company, whether it be WXYZ or Andiamo or whoever, give them a fair shake. Because it's unbelievable how much power is now in the consumer. If you go to Best Buy and they wrong you, the first thing you shouldn't go do is tweet and complain, because then they're not going to take care of you. If you do right to people, usually you'll get the right thing done to you. You email them, like Steven said, and we'll get back to you and do the right thing. And that's what this is all about. And if they don't, then you start failing. Exactly. Biggest mistake that you have personally made in social media or that you've seen made?
I guess what I've seen people do is just kind of like the rant thing. I mean, it's just like in real life. You want to think before you speak. And I think with social media it's different because there's that level of anonymity.
If you don't have the time to dedicate to being sociable on the social media stuff, how do you use it without being all business? Like if you have a full-time job and you're trying to do this part-time and trying to get it off the ground, and if you got 1,000 followers and you're trying to build a fan base, how do you how do you manage the time and that be all business?
So how do you hire young kids who work cheap, right? So how do you deal with it?
You know what, you can utilize Hootsuite or TweetDeck to schedule out your messages for you, so that way you sit down for 10 minutes and then you can just put it all out and then it'll go out at different random times. That's one suggestion.
I know that's scheduled tweets, so it's not too personal.
It is, yeah, and I always tell people, it's okay to schedule your information, it's okay to schedule your posts and your tweets, but the important part is to be available when there's reaction to them. So scheduling's okay, just remember to use personality, speak to me, don't speak at me. You're not a business, you're not running coupons. Speak like a human would speak to another human. Don't use words like everybody, use words like you.